Out of personal interest and previous experience of using AI in the healthcare domain, I'm always on the lookout for new developments of using AI in the healthcare domain. So, this is one such interesting news coming from MIT, where researchers have identified a new class of antibiotic candidates using deep learning. Now, these compounds can kill methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is a bacterium which can produce or cause deadly infections. So, MRSA infects more than 80,000 people in the United States every year, often causes skin infections or pneumonia. Severe cases can lead to sepsis, which is a potential fatal bloodstream infection. So these researchers have come up with a method using deep learning to find new antibiotics. So that they have their article in Nature, okay, and the batch from deeplearning.ai is a weekly newsletter. So they have covered this particular news. So I'll be making use of this information to explain more about what they have done. So what they have done is that they have trained models to screen chemical compounds for those that kill this particular bacteria. Okay, so how have they done it? They built a training set of 39,312 compounds, okay, including the most known antibiotics and a diverse selection of other molecules. In a lab, they tested each of these compounds for its ability to inhibit growth of this particular bacteria and its toxicity to human liver, skeletal muscle and lung cells. Okay, using these lab results, they trained 4 ensembles of 20 graph neural networks to classify compounds for antibiotic properties, toxicity to the liver, toxicity to the skeletal muscle and toxicity to the lungs. Then they ran these ensembles on 12 million compounds from the MQL database and a Broad Institute database. So what they did was they built a training set of 39,312 compounds which are known for most known antibiotics and diverse selection of other molecules. Then they tested the compound based on certain parameters with respect to its ability to inhibit this bacteria growth as well as the toxicity to human tissues. Based on that, they created 4 ensembles of 20 graph neural networks to classify compounds for these properties. And then they ran this on 12 million compounds. From that, they filtered out compounds with the lowest probability of being antibiotics and the highest probability of being toxic to humans, leaving these 3646 antibiotic low toxicity compounds. So they got 3646 antibiotic low toxicity compounds by running this deep neural network on these 12 million compounds. Then from these compounds, they found the minimal chemical structure responsible for the antibiotic properties. To do this, they removed the atoms or ring of atoms from the molecule's edges, predicted the probability that the modified molecule was an active antibiotic, repeated these steps until the probability fell below a threshold. So they could get minimal chemical structure compounds, which because compounds which share a chemical structure, they are most likely to work in similar ways within the body, giving scientists a pathway to discover further compounds with similar benefits. So that was the idea over here. So of these compounds predicted to be antibiotics and non-toxic, the authors then lab tested 241 compounds that were not known to work against this particular bacteria. And they found 8.7% inhibited the bacterium's growth. So this was much better than the percentage of antibiotics in the original training set, which was 1.3%, suggesting that this approach could be a first useful step in finding new antibiotics. The authors also tested 30 compounds predicted not to be antibiotics and they did not have any effect. In that way, they tested that this model actually works. Now, 2 of the compounds that inhibited this particular bacteria, they shared a similar and novel mechanism of action against bacteria and also inhibited other antibiotic resistant infection in lab tests. One of them also proved effective against this particular infections in mice. So that was the key development over here, okay, of how they have identified newer antibiotic compounds. Now then this goes through a lot of clinical trials and other things. First they need to be tested on mice and other models and on human cells, and then it needs to go to a clinical trial and other things to come out as a medicine, right? But still this is an interesting approach to identify newer antibiotic compounds. And most of the antibiotics which are currently in use were discovered, say, in the mid 20th century. And because of this, a lot of former deadly diseases were brought under control. After that, there were modern techniques which includes genomics, synthetic antibiotics. Okay, they were there was discoveries through the end of the centuries by identifying variants on existing drugs. But in the 21st century, newer antibiotics haven't been clinically successful. Okay, that's what this report by NIH noted. And there is also widespread of antibiotics, because of which you have antibiotic resistance present now. So how do you actually overcome this? Antibiotic resistant infections are among the top global public health threats, which are directly responsible for 1.27 million deaths in 2019 according to WHO. So newer options as well as efforts to find the emergence of resistant strains are much needed. So what they are saying over here is that if neural networks can identify new classes of medicines, AI could bring a golden age of medical discovery. And they say that this helps to explain why pharmaceutical companies are hiring machine learning engineers at unprecedented rates. So this could be an interesting career for machine learning or AI engineers to work on. So this is a very interesting development. I hope this video is useful to you. I'll be putting the link of the paper as well as the news as well as this explanation from the batch. You can have a look at it. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you in another video.